if we're fine jumping to sort of a different topic, one that's still kind of related, because the book actually articulates the problem of the overly cautious player as well, which I thought was interesting. It's like the book is basically like, now listen, you're gonna run into somebody who likes to roll a check on every door, every rock, every tree.
I've brought my 10-foot pole with me this time, GM. No worries.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you walk into a room, everything looks normal. All right, challenge accepted.
I poke the lock.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it gives any sort of like real like actionable advice other than just like be aware of this kind of person and try and have a conversation with them about sort of engaging more with the spirit of things. Because if this person was really this cautious, they probably wouldn't be out adventuring. They would probably be doing something else. But I just thought that was a fun call out of a character stereotype that I at sometimes have been guilty of playing.
Oh man, if you like player archetypes though, chapter 2, your know your player KYP index has like the different player archetypes listed out, and there's 8 of them. So I'm just going to list them real quick for you. There's acting, exploring, fighting, instigating, optimizing, problem solving, socializing, and storytelling. And I thought it was really super interesting how they break down the different types of player characters, because I think that maybe I considered 3 here, right? Like the storyteller and then the fighter and then maybe the problem solver, because there's always the role play folks, the people who want encounters and the people who like puzzles. But I hadn't really considered the socializing player, who in the book, it's recommending that GMs like it's saying that the socializing player is just there to hang out with people, and that GMs shouldn't really pressure them into doing more than they want to do, like use a funny voice or role play more or engage more flavorfully in combat, etc. so forth. So that was a fun breakdown. I like the psychology they're digging into.
Yeah, it's like, and I don't mean problem in that people are a problem, but it's like one of those sort of like naming the problem kind of things. If you can identify a problem, you can start to work toward a solution to it. And like I've had players who I've described as disengaged before, and like thinking about this, maybe I need to recontextualize that. Is they're just like, they just need an excuse to hang out with people. And yeah, maybe they're playing Candy Crush on their phone while the game's going on, and they're not like, they're paying attention, but they're not super involved. And they're the kind of player that's like, oh, well, like, all right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to, rather than really like getting into sort of flowery description and stuff like that. It's interesting. And then on the other, the other part, the other end of that spectrum, like I was once surprised by an acting player at like a convention game that we were running a few years ago, and they were playing a bard. And of course they were playing a bard, and they sat at my table, and I'd never met them before. And then they were turned up to 11 from the very beginning of that game to the very end. And they were great players. It was just, they're a great player. Yeah. What's that?
It's just, they hog the spotlight, right? Yeah. I mean, that's part of it.
Yeah. They hog the spotlight, but it's, you can make an argument too. That's like, should I hide my light because other people don't want to shine, like that kind of thing? Like, but for me as the GM, it was such an exhausting session because I constantly felt like I had to match this person's energy. And by the end, I just wanted to pass out and go into a table. I think that was actually when we met you, Inver, that year.
Was I the player?
Oh, no, you were not the player. It was somebody who after that came to our public games for a good while, but then I think they moved to Northern Virginia. But yeah, I think it was that year.
Yeah, my acting is so. I'd be curious to see which one you guys would put yourselves in as. I would assume storytelling, because that's universal for GMs.
Yeah, I would probably call myself either a storyteller or a problem solver.
I'll take instigator for the more flavorful choice. Thank you.
Yeah. And I like how they don't use the term min-maxer, and they instead call them optimizers. It's such a more positive spin on it.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yeah. But I guess min-maxers has become a little bit of a derogatory term over the years.
I think other than storyteller, I would probably be an explorer type. Because I really like, experiencing the world that the GM has put together for us.
Yeah. I guess when I am calling myself a problem solver, it's like I always like to pretend that I'm Sherlock Holmes and I'm figuring stuff out before everybody else. So I'm always just like, yes, I'm like Russell Nash with his corkboard and his red string, like just or Charlie Kelly or something like that. And I'm just trying to connect all the dots to everything.
We need to write you a good old-fashioned gumshoe game.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that.